Okay, welcome everyone to episode 7 of Raise the Roof. My name is Seth Nesbitt and I'm the CRO here at Zuper. We are back from a whirlwind week at RoofCON, and we're going to talk about that a lot in a second. But first off, I want to introduce our guest for this week, Shane Carey, who recently joined Zuper. Welcome, Shane.
Hey, thank you so much, Seth. I'm very excited to be here.
Well, we are so glad to have you on board. As I said, you recently joined us. I think day one of RoofCon was your second day in the company. Is that right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. You joined the Friday before, and we said, get on a plane and come on out. Come on out to RoofCon. Well, listen, many people in the industry know you, but for those who don't, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, of course. I've been in the roofing industry for 8 years now, mostly on the software and operations side of the business. I spent a big chunk of time at Job Nimbus, a great company, first in sales and then into sales leadership, held a bunch of different various roles there, and worked closely with contractors in their scaling efforts. What really stuck out or stuck with me is how often growth doesn't come from fancy features. It really comes from having a simple process that people actually follow. And we watched that play out in real time with the sales team there. By tightening up those sales processes and focusing on repeatable behaviors, we were able to, see those KPIs start to move. And that momentum helped take the company from around 3 million when I joined to roughly 80 million in annual revenue. That eventually led to over $400 million in 2 rounds of private equity funding. And, that experience shaped how I think about scaling. And if the process isn't clear and usable, growth just doesn't hold, and reps can't get the success that they're looking for to retain them long term.
What a run! What a fantastic run there. You left Job Nimbus, but you didn't leave roofing, and this was one of the things about your background that I like so much. About a year and a half ago, you left Job Nimbus, but you stayed in the industry. What'd you go do?
Yeah, after I stepped away from my role at Job Nimbus, I wanted to stay in the industry helping contractors that are struggling to implement their software stack effectively. So, joined the Roofing Academy. Great company, great people, great values.
Great. Yeah, I think that was one of the things when we discussed the fact that, yeah, you loved the business so much and you loved helping to actually rolling up your sleeve and implementing, which is well, listen, changing companies is always a big decision. What led you to join Zuper?
Yeah, that's like the $1 million question. Truth be told, I'd never heard of Zuper before. Even as a consultant in the industry, the name just never came up. So I had a peer in the industry who made me aware of the product and the team behind it. And after meeting with various individuals, including you, Seth, and doing my own independent research, I got a sense for just how feature rich the product is. And what stood out was how the system encompassed forms and really standard operating procedures that allow contractors to collect information once and use that to empower the team and manage their production. Fast forward a few weeks now that I've been on the team, and I'm convinced that this tool is best in class. And there's a product and dev team that embraces the feedback loop. So just really excited.
We should give our first of many shout outs, I think, on this call. I think it was Noah who introduced us, Noah Williams, the roof doctor. I was just reaching out. It was right around the time we launched Zuper Glass, and we were getting a lot of buzz and a lot of people were talking. And so I was reaching out saying, hey, we're looking to bring some people in, and he recommended you strongly. So thanks very much, Noah. Shout out to you.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, listen, last week was RoofCon. It was our second big show. We were at Roofing Process Conference the week before. As a first-time attendee, I was blown away by the energy, the conversations, the enthusiasm, great discussions. But that's my first impression. I really had nothing to compare it to. What was your take of the show?
Yeah, the traffic was busier than I can recall in 2025. There were quite a few new faces in the space, especially when it comes to software tools that leverage AI. I still saw plenty of companies struggling with their integration needs. And last but most importantly for me as a sales consultant, the Zuper momentum really stood out to me, and it was interesting to see a lot of long-standing individuals in the industry that were blown away with the capabilities and are excited to see what we can do.
Oh my gosh, I love seeing these. Love seeing these pictures here from the show. One of them, I'm sure we're going to see him here in a second, was one of our partners, and you had an interesting observation about the gang from ForgeWorks.
I've met a lot of implementation consultants in the roofing space specifically, and ForgeWorks and the team that was there alongside us, they did a great job of helping people understand their role with an outside consultant, and just super sharp, smart people that have a passion for helping companies go implement software instead of making it shelfware.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Their booth was kind of right next to ours, and yeah, just being able, hey, when we talk to someone and they're interested talking about implementation, we could just kind of bring them over. They know Zuper very well. They know the roofing industry very well. Yeah, great folks. Thank you very much, Charlie, Brantley, and team. We're really glad you're there. Um, so let's go into another topic here, which is really the title of this session here. I agree the Zuper booth was really busy. One day we all missed lunch, like around 2 o'clock. We're like, hey, we got to just stop, and people need to go get something to eat, or we're going to collapse. There was a lot of really good discussions. And if I sort of took a step up, I think most of them, some way or another, were around this idea of so many systems and technology consolidation. And you sort of mentioned that. I think that was sort of the background to all of our conversations.
Yeah, absolutely. Um,
And that kind of led us to develop that Frankenstein theme as this way of sort of articulating that. So I thought it was sort of funny, but I have a relatively uneducated view of it. How did you see it land with different contractors and folks?
yeah, it's interesting you asked that because I heard this same frustration from multiple owners, office admin, even some sales reps that were there accompanying the business as they walked the showroom floor. They all talked about how complicated it is to stitch things together, different tools. A heavy tech stack means it's harder to onboard and train somebody how to use their tools. So it resonated really well. And I had a handful of individuals that made mention of that graphic and really pointed it out like, I know what that's all about.
Yeah, it ended up being just kind of sort of the background to all of our conversations. We might talk about a specific feature, specific functionality, specific challenge, but when you sort of took a step back up, almost everybody is dealing with what this image here represents in some way or another, which is I'm currently managing more platforms, vendors, integrations than I would like, and there's a real value proposition about getting this into one system for sure. Um, uh, I'll tell a funny story. We even had somebody from outside the roofing industry visit us because we were in Oklahoma City. And we should say that RoofCON was amazing. Hunter and team, you guys did a fantastic job, start to finish. Speakers, flow, location. Loved the location. We even got pretty lucky with the weather, didn't we, Shane? If you can organize this next time, in the 60s in Oklahoma in January, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty balmy. It was
Uh,
crazy.
I had someone from outside the industry come by because we were in Oklahoma. One of our customers, Oklahoma Generators, came by. They said, "Hey, we want to visit the booth and see folks in person." I'd seen them, met them before, but it was a chance to connect. And they're just literally down the street. And he came and was looking around, and it's quite interesting. It's also a home services business and exteriors business in a way. And he saw this graphic, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, this is our business as well." In the electrical and the generator space, they're dealing with these legacy systems, stitching them together. How do you do this? You got to hire somebody to do it. You got to hire staff to do it. and the value proposition of, hey, getting it into an all-in-one platform is really strong. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. It was definitely a lot of fun. Okay, so let's talk about a solution for every role. So one of the things that happened at RoofCON was we talked to a lot of owners. Most of the people there, they own their roofing company and they're there. And in some cases, they would bring people from their team. They bring people from the sales team, from the production team. And I think you had a lot of really good conversations, especially given your background in implementation. What were you hearing from people in the sales roles or production roles, separate from some of the owners who are, honestly, they know the details, but they don't have the specific problems that some of those folks do. What were you hearing from the functional leads in the business?
Yeah, sales tracking is hard for contractors. There's a lot of moving parts. Finding a way to create consistency and get everybody rowing in the same direction
Hmm.
was something that seemed like a consistent theme there at the event, as well in my consulting that I would do um, with roofing contractors. And it's hard to keep good employees, even more so when the tech stack is complicated and you're juggling too many tools that don't necessarily talk well, forcing salespeople to repeat themselves over and over again to get where they need to go. Uh, at the same time, everyone's trying to improve their same day close rates. That's, in my opinion, it is a sales need, but it's impacting the rest of the business, especially on the retail side, while still making sure deals are actually profitable.
Hmm.
The real challenge there is consistency. And if every rep sells differently and every job has a different margin, growth becomes unpredictable and it's a moving target. So, you can hit big revenue numbers, but if profits aren't aligned and aren't controlled job to job, the business doesn't really scale and grow the way it should.
Yeah, no, I definitely heard that. Definitely heard that as well. Um, yeah, the only other piece I'd add in there was on the production side, some of the labor constraints and some of the challenges of kind of onboarding people quickly. So we had a lot of discussions around with heads of production. How do you get sort of relatively junior people, on board doing the right thing? Same thing as on the sales side, almost equal kinds of problems. How do you put in guardrails to, get people running in a systematized way? It was interesting how those two conversations mirrored each other.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. Well, we couldn't talk about RoofCon if we don't talk about, one of the biggest topics there for sure, which is AI. There was just a lot going on about AI there, so much buzz. Um, uh, be interested in your take. Take a step back and see, where you think AI is making a big difference now, and where you think it's going to make a big difference going forward. There was a lot of vendors, a lot of buzz, and Zuper, I'll just be upfront. We got a lot to say about it, but I want to get your take on it.
When I talk to contractors, AI resonates when it's tied to time savings and revenue increase. From, a sales perspective, the biggest wins aren't flashy features. They're just, tools that remove the busy work that causes deals to slip through the cracks, occupy too much time, and keep them from doing what matters most depending on their role within the organization. So, things like voice to text notes. So reps aren't typing it at night, after hours, hands-free photo and videos in the field, summaries of the inspections are a couple good examples. I even love the AI answering tools. So when teams are tied up, that conversation doesn't, get missed, and you have the potential of actually scheduling an appointment with somebody that's interested in your services. And I would say, on top of that, when leadership can quickly see what's happening in interactions with the customer, then they have the ability to lean in, coach faster, fix issues before they're costing revenue or lost opportunities.
Yeah, that first part, all that voice voice AI really does feel like a big game changer. There'll be an AI analysis in the back office. We've got a call summary, we've got a job summary, but the ability to kind of save time, to stay safe, with the Zuper glasses, the hands-free, voice notes, AI voice notes on the walkthrough. You can see the video here. Saves time, let people get back to their family sooner instead of sitting in the truck or sitting at the office typing up your notes on a visit. Just speak them into the phone and hit summary and cleanup, and you're done, and you can go off and have dinner or watch your kids' game or whatever. Really making a big difference there. Well, awesome. Any other thoughts on AI or the show in general? As I said, again, shout out to Hunter and the team, Diego, Alicia, Sabrina. You guys just did an amazing event. We're excited to go back in November. Any final thoughts on kind of RoofCon, or I guess kind of your first week in the job?
Yeah, everybody's looking for an advantage that AI tools and teams that know how to leverage AI for building feature sets faster. And I've been extremely impressed with where the industry's headed and how welcoming the our potential customers are in leveraging the AI. And we're a very tech forward company, and that's exciting.
You remind me 2 points. One is with the adoption of tech of AI inside Zuper, just like everybody. Hey guys, we're in the same boat. AI makes us work quicker, smarter, faster. You're seeing more features. You're seeing us work more efficiently. For sure. The other thing, and we talked about this in prepping for this, is AI is going to be one of these technologies that levels the playing field. That for a long time, really good tech was the province of big companies. They got smart, computer analysis. They got, great CRM systems. And the little guys were kind of, sort of stuck with whatever they could do. Right now, there is amazing. The best AI in the world is just available to everyone, and we're putting in the hands of small and medium-sized businesses, owners and their teams to compete with the megacorps, which I think is a great story. It's one of the upsides of AI. There's going to be some disruption, but this is one great way that AI is going to impact the business. Let's put it in the hands of business owners. Well, good. Shane, thank you so much for a great discussion. We are so glad to have you on board. We're glad you chose Zuper.
I'm very grateful to be here. Can't wait to make a contribution.
Well, good. You already are. I mean, seriously, you already are. Okay, everyone. Next up for us next week, we will be at IRE, major show for us. We had a huge booth at RoofCon. IRE, we're kind of in this extension hall, not such a big presence, but we are physically there. Please come visit us. We'd love to show you, kind of meet some of the team. We're going to be at booth 4766. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be walking around. Please do come and look at us. Come see us there. And I want to do something on this show that I hadn't done before, which is I want to say a big thank you to the team that makes this happen. I've been wrapping up without thanking everybody who makes this happen. So just big shout out to Chris, our head of growth marketing, shout out to Rachel Anderson, who's our head of social media, and most of all, a shout out to Elizabeth St. Raymond, our producer. I hesitate to say her name because she's so good, someone's going to steal her. Thank you so much, Elizabeth, for all you do. You're making these look really professional. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks all.